It's great. We're bringing back the 70s, guys. We got inflation, conflict in the Middle East. We've got an emboldened Iran. We have gas lines, especially coming off of a pandemic. It's unbelievable how incompetent he is. Or maybe it's competence just directed in the wrong direction. In another show of unbelievable weakness, we are now experiencing Jimmy Carter-esque gas lines. The reason for this is not because of actual gasoline shortages at this point. It's because of this ransomware attack on a major U.S. pipeline. It is the work of a criminal gang called DarkSide, according to the FBI. The cyber extortion attempt, according to CBS News, that's forced the shutdown of a vital U.S. pipeline was carried out by a criminal gang known as DarkSide that cultivates a Robin Hood image of stealing from corporations and giving a cut to charity, the FBI said on Monday. The shutdown stretched into its third full day, with the Biden administration loosening regulations of the transport of petroleum products on highways as part of an all-hands-on-deck effort to avoid disruptions in the fuel supply. Georgia-based Colonial Pipeline said Monday it hopes to have service mostly restored by the end of the week. The pipeline carries gasoline and other fuel from Texas to the Northeast. It delivers roughly 45% of fuel consumed on the East Coast, according to the company. It was hit by what Colonial called a ransomware attack, in which hackers typically lock up computer systems by encrypting data and paralyzing networks, then demand a large ransom to unscramble it. So, hilariously, the White House was asked about all of this. And the White House's response to, what looks like an actual foreign attack on American domestic infrastructure, it looks as though their response was, well, it's a private problem, which is unbelievable. You want to talk about it seems like kind of an American foreign policy problem when you shut down 45% of the gas supply to the Southeast. But here was the White House press secretary yesterday trying to explain this away as it's a private decision whether Colonial decides to pay off the Russian hackers or not.
So first, we recognize that victims of cyber attacks often face a very difficult situation, and they have to just balance often the cost-benefit when they have no choice with regard to paying a ransom. Colonial is a private company and will defer information regarding their decision on paying a ransom to them.
What do you mean they're a private company? What? Excuse me? So normally, if somebody kidnaps your child and ransoms them, that's a matter that involves the police, would it not? You'd want law enforcement involved at this point. But here they're like, well, I guess Colonial, if they decide to pay a ransom, that's on Colonial. Meanwhile, Colonial said it is developing a system restart plan. They said that their main pipeline remains offline. Some smaller lines are now operational. This administration is just a bleep show. They're just a bleep show. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said Sunday ransomware attacks are what businesses now have to worry about, and she says she will work vigorously with the Department of Homeland Security to address the problem, calling it a top priority for the administration. She says, we have to work in partnership with business to secure networks to defend ourselves against these attacks. She says it's an all-hands-on-deck effort right now. We're working closely with the company, state, and local officials. Okay, what would be great is if somebody would tell the White House that it's not merely a private question as to whether Colonial pays ransom here. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, gas stations are suffering shortages all over the southeastern United States. The closure of that 5,500-mile Colonial Pipeline, which carries more than 100 million gallons of fuel from Texas to New Jersey each day, has stretched now into its fifth day. So it's great. We're bringing back the 70s, guys. All the good stuff. We got inflation. We've got conflict in the Middle East. We've got an emboldened Iran. We have gas lines. This is really great, especially coming off of a pandemic. Again, Joe Biden was handed the most salutary conditions for any president I have ever seen entering office. And his immediate move is to blow it all. It's unbelievable how incompetent he is. Or maybe it's competence just directed in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, the good news is the Democrats want to just imitate Joe Biden's actions all across the way. It's amazing. So Joe Biden has somehow he inherited, just to get this straight, Joe Biden inherited a vaccine that works, a vaccine distribution plan, an economy set to boom, and peace in the Middle East. And in his first 3 months, he has produced deep vaccine hesitancy, a dramatically underperforming economy, inflation, gas shortages, and a Middle Eastern war. Really well done here, Joe Biden. So naturally, Democrats are like, what if we did that? So Governor Gavin Newsom in California announced on Monday, his state is projected to have a $38 billion discretionary surplus in 2021. Now, again, that's largely because the federal government has decided to send checks to all of these states. He said he wants to use it to expand the state's stimulus program. He's going to send checks to 2/3 of California residents. California already has the highest estimated debt of any state, according to Breitbart, with nearly $363 billion in liabilities in 2019. But Gavin Newsom has a plan. His plan is he's going to send you a check. He's just going to send you a check. And how is that? This is certainly going to help with unemployment in the Golden State, paying people to stay home. Certainly it has nothing to do with the fact that he's being recalled in the state of California. See, here's the thing. The economic plans by the Democrats here, they don't work. But they do work in one sense. People like free money. And so long as you're telling people they get free money, it doesn't matter because inflation is the indirect result of a lot of these policies. So long as it's indirect, you can claim that it's something else that's causing the economic supply line problems. So that's what Gavin Newsom is doing. Democrats across the country are pursuing these giant tax and spend policies, these horrible policies on crime, these terrible fiscal policies, and then the people who reap the whirlwind are all of the citizens of these states who then are lied to by the media who insist that you keep electing Democrats in order to do more of this stuff. Recognize that Joe Biden, Gavin Newsom, I think, will survive the recall. Joe Biden, according to some estimates, has a 60% approval rating. 60%. Now, I don't believe that for a second, but Joe Biden having a 60% approval rating, despite a dramatically underperforming economy, war in the Middle East, inflation on the horizon, a dramatically polarized racial problem in the United States, it just demonstrates that the kind of heavy lifting the media will do on behalf of Democrats who are either unbelievably incompetent or malevolent or both. The Biden administration has been a junk heap thus far. Just terrible. But we're all supposed to pretend that he's doing a wonderful, wonderful job because after all, he's a kindly old fellow. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with all our future content.